And we are going to begin now a series of standing poses, which will be somewhat static in places, long held to get opening through the neck and the arms. And maybe what we'll do is we'll start with a little bit of just loosening things up, you know, windmilling the arms in both ways, and some shoulder rolls. She's going to do some shoulder rolls for us. And maybe just shake it out a little bit, arms and legs. Just that kind of, we've been doing a lot of stuff with a lot of intention. Just let things relax. Okay. Now Terry's going to sweep her arms up above her head. And she's going to just take a hold of one wrist with the other hand and then come into a nice side bend here. And you can see she's getting some really nice stretch through this musculature here. You can feel it right through there, right, Terry? Yeah. Yeah, great. And now, of course, if you could just relax that and then maybe switch that around and go the other way. And so you can imagine that she's now getting a nice stretch through that upper part of the arm and shoulder on her right side, our left side. Okay, great, Terry. Now, should we maybe do a little bit more complete side bend here, Terry? And so we'll just spread the legs a little bit further apart, drop one arm down, one leg, and then we'll come right over this way. And you see she's looking up at the arm, and that's getting her into a side bend. If she was looking down, then she might lose some of that side bend, see? And right now I think she's getting a fabulous stretch right through here, right, Terry? Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that is because of the way she's positioned her head up, looking up at her arm. So that's fabulous. And then when you're done, if you want to just go back to the other side, Terry, and then do that full side bend that way. Fantastic. So that gave us some really nice side bends initially for the neck, and then we continued down the body for a more complete side bend. Let's do some shoulder rolls. We'll just take an in-breath and roll the shoulders back, hey, and then maybe we'll just tip the head to one side. Terry's going to place that hand on the head. Notice she just placed it on her head. She's not pulling on her head. So if I just step in here for a second, the last thing you want to do is use this hand to yank on your head. Don't do that. It's dangerous and you may hurt yourself. But I think it increases the pull a little bit here, eh, Terry? Yeah. And remember what I said before about having to stay in a pose for a while so that we overcome those automatic stress receptors that are telling these muscles to contract to protect the tendons and ligaments. If you stay here for a while, then you can feel that open up more and more, right, Terry? Yeah, yeah, you can feel that happening, eh? Okay, so just go ahead and demonstrate the other way, yeah, good. Roll that shoulder back on the other side, very good. That kind of helps. I think when you roll the shoulder back this way, it encourages that stretch through here, doesn't it? Eh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's getting a fabulous stretch through her neck this way, but she's not pulling on her head with that hand. Just using it as a little bit of weight on there. Great. Okay, and then you can relax there, Terry. Well done. Okay, now let's just do a couple little shoulder rolls here again. Okay. And now let's sweep the hands up above and come into prayer above our head. And then maybe we'll just drop those hands to the heart center. Take another in-breath here. And let's sweep them up above the head again. And then bring them to the heart center. And then, Terry, could you just demonstrate how you fold forward at the hip crease? See how she's done that? She hasn't rolled the spine at all, and then she just rolls the spine at last minute, and then just let your hands drop down, and so she can come into a bit of a forward fold. And I kind of like this being in part of the practice because I've been doing a lot of back bending, and this is a nice counter pose to that. And now in the in-breath, Terry will sweep up. Nice. And then if you can come up to there again, nice. And then back to heart center. And then an in-breath, sweep the hands up above the head. And now can you turn those so palms are facing you other way, and then we're like reading a book. And now Terry's going to bring those hands to her spine behind her back. And just wherever the fingers land, that's going to be different for different people. And now can you open up the elbows like a butterfly opening its wings? And great. And if you could just do a gentle turn around so the back is facing us, Terry, you can see where her fingers have come. For some people, you won't get there. Some people will be down here. It just depends on what opening you have. It doesn't really matter, but we're getting really tremendous opening through the axilla here where the arms and the shoulders connect. Hey, wonderful. Okay, if you want to just spin back around and face the camera, super. And then we'll just let everything relax and the arms can come back down to the sides. Wonderful. Okay, and then we'll maybe just shake it out a little bit just to loosen things up and unjangle the nervous system. The wrist here, good. And put a little bit of gentle traction on that hand, okay? And then we're just gonna let the head fall this way. Okay, good. And so if you want to just turn around, you can see that what's happened is a little bit of gentle traction is being applied to this arm. The head is just tipping up. Look up to the ceiling a little bit. Good. And then do you feel a nice stretch right through here?
Yeah.
Great. So, and if you can hold that for a while, you're going to get a really, really nice stretch through this sternocleidomastoid, bit of the trapezius scalene muscles in here. These are like muscles that get super tense and knotted up from the work that we do. So this is a really, really great pose for you to hold, and hold it for a while so that these can gradually release. Can you feel the release happening in there?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, and then if you can let go and turn around and face us. And now we're going to do the other one, right? So you're going to sweep that arm up behind you and behind your back. That's it. And then up above, and then behind your back. There you go. And then grab it with the wrist. And now we're going to go the opposite way to let the head fall back. And remember to kind of look up at the ceiling a little bit so you get a little bit more of a bend through here. And then if you can just kind of turn around so that folks can see what's happening in the other way, right? So she's putting a little bit of traction. I don't think you're pulling really hard on this arm, are you?
No.
No, that would be silly and not really producing any positive effects. And you can see under all this hair of hers, beautiful hair, you can see how the neck is getting stretched to the sternocleidomastoid, the trapezius, the scalenes, right? That feel pretty good?
Yeah.
All right, and then we can let that go. Okay, so one last thing we're going to do is we're going to sweep one of the arms around again, up above the head, and then bring it behind you, and then bring it straight up behind your back. And then the other arm's going to come around the other way and try to find that with a little bind. And if you want to just do a little dance around and show the back there, you can see where her fingers are coming together a little bit. And can you actually bind them together? Yeah, she can. And when you bind them together, you pull on that a little bit more. So you get a little bit more stretch through all of this. This is a pretty useful thing to do. And then let go. And then can you do the opposite way, swinging the other arm around, and then bringing it up behind the back, and then the other arm comes over, and she's probably got a little bit of a bind that she can show us by turning around there, and there she goes. Great job, Terry. And just for fun, I'm going to take Terry's place on the mat here, and I'm going to show you what happens when I do that very final pose. So this is this side with me, and now I've come around here, and I'm kind of like this. Okay? That feels pretty good. And then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to bring this hand up here, and this arm's going to come over here, and I'm going to get this bind here. Okay, I like to do this as my final pose that I do because to me it's a measure of how well all the other stuff that I did on the bolster and everything else you've seen, how well did it work? And depending on work that's been happening, etc., I'm going to get closer, maybe here or maybe here. But I can tell you something interesting. My practice has been about a little over 10 years. And when I first started, my hands were behind me like this. That far apart on one side and barely touching on the other side. And that's how far I've come. So don't worry if your hands aren't even coming anywhere near one another. Just go wherever you can. You can also use a strap between one hand and the other and something to hold on to if you want to in that pose. And so Terry, can you come on over here for a second? And how long have you been practicing?
Almost a year.
About a year. So I can assure you that if we checked in on Terry a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, she'd probably have a full body like this. It takes time. These solutions that we're offering are to problems that in many cases took years, decades of repeated strain in the workplace, in the dental operatory. And the solutions are not going to come in a day or 2 days. It's not a quick fix, but I can assure you that if you try the things we've been showing today, that you will see improvement, but you have to be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. Okay, thank you so much. You were so great today. Terry will now demonstrate one of the simplest stretches you can do at home using something that everyone has, a doorway. The arch of a doorway, to be more specific. So when Terry's going to place her hands in the doorway, she's standing a little bit distance from it, and now with an in-breath, Terry will lean forward. And she can even stay here and take a couple breaths. So here the weight of the body, gravity and the weight of the body are providing a really nice stretch through these major muscles in the chest, the pectoralis major, and other muscles through the shoulder. And so you can stay here as long as it feels good. Does that still feel pretty good there, Terry?
Yeah.
And now when Terry pushes back, now she's using other muscles that may seldom get an exercise. The other thing that Terry can do, and she's nice and tall, so Terry can grasp the top of the doorway here, and then she can lean forward, okay? And do the same thing and just stay there for a couple of breaths. And then when you're done, you can push back. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to show you quickly what happens if you're a little shorter like me. And when I do this at home, I'm not blessed with Terry's height. Because I'm shorter in stature, I stand on a bolster, and then I can get on the top of the doorway too, and I can lean in and get all that same wonderful stretch through the chest, the muscles, the big bully muscles in the chest that are usually contracted when we're working and our shoulders are internally rotated. And then I can push back, and then I just stay on the bolster when I do this part here too. And I'm just feeling a really nice stretch through here. So, and you can work your way up and down the door frame and use the top of it. And so even if you're a little shorter, you can just use anything. It doesn't have to be a bolster, anything that you are sure you're not going to fall off of. Don't be standing on something that is precarious and you're going to do a face plant. That's the only thing that we don't want to see happen. Terry, could you demonstrate how we can use a counter in the home to open up the chest and the neck? And so what Terry's going to do is she's just going to place her fingers on the counter, and then as she drops down, it's going to open the chest. So she's going to do a nice big in-breath here. Nice. And you can see how her head is just hanging down. So she's getting a stretch through the cervical region of the spine here. This is being extended, which is kind of nice. And you can see how the scapula, the shoulder blades have come a little closer together, and that tells us that things on the opposite side are opened. So, and you can feel that opening through the chest, hey Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it feel good?
It does.
Yeah. So there's little danger of injuring yourself here. And you can sort of hang out here as long as it feels good. And you can see how nice and straight Terry's back is. And you can find a countertop of any different height in the home, and it's really not super important. This is a countertop in my office that we're using. It tends to be a little higher, but a countertop in the kitchen would be fine, or the bathroom, or wherever you have a countertop, or even a railing. If you have a railing in your home, you can use that. But you want to make sure you have enough room so you can stand fairly well away, so you can get all the benefits that Terry's getting here. Okay, well that's fantastic. Super, Terry, thank you. Our demonstration today wouldn't be complete if we didn't take a look at the way that you can use a variety of different balls to find trigger points and pressure points and do your own form of auto massage and trigger point therapy for yourself at home.
So here I have a tennis ball, I have a pretty firm bouncy ball, and a spiky ball, which you can find in yoga stores. So let's start with the bouncy ball. So you can place it, say, here under, you know, where your trapezius is. A little bend in the knee, so you can create that pressure, and then move it around. The massage itself feels great, and then, oh, there's a pressure point. I can feel it's doing something, so I'm gonna stay there. I'm gonna move around like that, see? And that is a really great way. You can also put this under the neck. You gotta be a little bit careful, you know, you got some vital structures that run up there. But you can massage the neck carefully, a little bend in the knee. And these spiky balls are good. You can find these in yoga supply stores, and they're kind of cool, and they give you a different sensation, and they make some really interesting squishy noises too while you use them. So there, and that's a way that you can do that. So I see we conveniently have a little bend in the wall here, and what I'm going to try to do is show you how, where you have an end of a wall in your home, you can take a ball and you can find even, you know, the insertion of some of the pectoralis muscles here, and you can lean in. I got a bit of bend in my knee here, and you can use the ball here against the attachment of these muscles here. Part of this would be pectoralis. You might find the insertion of sternocleidomastoid where it comes down here towards the sternum and the clavicle. So yeah, by all means, I would urge you to take advantage of your wall, balls, yoga mat, and you can do undo a lot of problems that arise from work and life by the use of these against the wall.